welcome to week 4. And as you can see, we now have stairs, which is why I'm starting this video on the terrazza of the studio, which is pretty exciting to get back up here again. Now, they still have to build the handrail out of concrete blocks, so that'll probably go in next week, but I'm just thrilled that they got these stairs poured. And so now you can kind of see the connection to the catwalk, which will also have a handrail and concrete block. And now it's a war zone. They did so much work, and it was raining cats and dogs every afternoon, so it's just a soggy mess. But from an overview shot, I wanted you to see, here's the patio. And what we've decided to do this week, because they want to pour the patio that's going to be extending off of the primary bedroom to the right, we decided to go ahead and whack out the door and the hallway, which was really going to be part of phase 2, but it'll just be easier to do the patio in one pour rather than have 2 pours and then risk having a big old crack. Plus we have to get the stairs that lead from the hallway, the main house, down to a concrete pad that'll be like right below where the steps to this terrace is going. So we have to figure all that out next week as well. So it's just easier to whack out the hallway at this point and seal off the house. So it's going to be a noisy week, early Monday, Tuesday. But anyway, I'm going to swing around so that you can see what it feels like with the higher wall. Now I've got, you can't really see it. I can't move back. Maybe I can move over here. Hang on a sec. Okay, I'm now inside the studio, but you can see how they've raised the wall up 2 rows, and they also filled in all of the holes that was in the existing wall. And so now they're prepping this wall for stucco, which will go all over this wall. But what I really like about it is that now we just have this nice surround of trees, and it's nice and private from all the neighbors. So this will make a nice little place to hang out any time of day, but especially for cocktail hour. I'm swinging around into the studio, and you can see there's all kinds of stuff going on. It's just, like I said, it's kind of a war zone. But here's the window that shoots off over the roof. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to raise the parapet on the roof so that the views from this level, you don't look at all the junk on the roof. So that'll also be happening later on. All right, so I'm going to walk over here onto the catwalk and give you an idea of what the view would be from the catwalk. So if you can imagine a future pool off to the left. Oh, there's the neighbor's cat. I don't know how it got up there. That is just wild. Anyway, as you can see, back to the house. As you can see, there's the pool. The future pool will be off to the left, upper left, and it will actually insert a little bit so that my patio will be about 5 feet deep, and then the pool will be inserted there and come all the way across. But if you can see below, sorry, there's a little bit of a glitch there. If you can see the orange conduit to the right, that's where the septic tank is. So we can't go any further than that. We have to keep the future pool clear of that septic tank. So we'll probably get about a 8-foot long pool, which is a pretty decent size. I was kind of hoping something more longer so that I could actually swim lapettes, but you know, that's the way it goes when you're renovating an existing house. Now I'm going to walk over here so you can get an idea. So here's the end of the catwalk, which will, of course, will have a handrail of concrete block, about about 36 inches high, maybe a smidge higher. And then this is the service entrance. So it'll be kind of cool to look down on that. And then that's the view out to the street. So I'm going to shut the camera off now, and then once go down the stairs, play it safe, do this without the camera on, and then I'll start again shooting the lower level. Okay, here we are again. Now, like I said, it's a war zone. The guys were trying to work around a lot of rain, and so it was really hard. They would have to go into the casita and do work when it was pouring down rain, and then come back out and do concrete work when it let up. But they were actually working through a lot of that rain, and actually curing concrete in humid weather is a good thing. But one thing I wanted to point out is you can see how they made partitions over here in the main room of the casita. This is where the stackable washer and dryer is going to go, behind that guy's orange jacket. To the right, and then to the left will be a small hanging closet, and I think a couple drawers. They're working out the sketches. And so the concrete block kind of ties into the metal beam that cuts across the ceiling. They've also knocked out all of that ledge. If you recall, that's been kind of an ongoing process. They finally got that done. That's what they were doing when it was raining. All that debris will have to be removed. And as you can see, they've got stacks of debris and over here. And then they did go ahead and concrete in, you can barely see this, where they had chipped out the ledge here. So that's kind of the only thing they did here. Okay, so because it was raining so much, we didn't get the debris moved up front, and so that debris has been mounting up. It's just insane. But the guys are just backed up. The guys who pick up the trash are backed up because of the rainy weather. So we're a bit behind. So here we are up front. You can see we received more sand, a porta potty, which is a little stinky, even though they do clean it a few times a week, and our ever-growing mountain of debris, which should have been removed on Friday, but like I said, the guys were delayed, so this is now slated for Tuesday. And then if we remove that hallway in the back, there's going to be just as big a pile after that. So we're a little bit stacked up, but Carlos feels like we can still keep on track for week 5, which we're going into, and a mountain of concrete. So you can see they're going to start moving into doing a lot of concrete work as far as floors and the patio. And also they're going to be starting to do some work on the back of the house. Senora Blanca's being great about giving them access to the guys so they can get back there, because the back wall of the house, of the casita I should say, has not been finished properly. So, and that was something we just discovered. So we are going to have to get back there and do some work. But anyway, that's it. So we're moving into week 5, and I'll see you you'll hear from me next Sunday.